Please hope. Okay, this is the message from today evening about using your vote to the best of your ability, and we'll tell you why and how you could help us help others use their vote. Next slide, please. Ujwala.
Yes, so many of you already know the current situation, but for those that don't, we as SAS doctors have suffered a series of pay freezes and below inflation pay awards since 2008. And what this has meant is effectively your pay has shrunk by 31%. And this situation is not equally felt by the whole economy. Doctors, including SAS doctors, have lost the most compared to other professions over the last 15 years. And to add insult to injury, those on the 2021 contracts were excluded from the several DDRB pay uplifts in recent years, and is therefore being financially unattractive and not viable to move to the new contract, and has made a total mockery of contract reform. Next slide, please. So many senior and eligible specialty doctors are being prevented from progressing to specialist post because the trust are just not appointing them. There are limited specialist roles and trust have failed to adequately promote the grade. This means that thousands of specialty doctors end up caught in bottleneck, unable to progress in their career. Next slide, please. So I would say this situation is intolerable. We have seen our pay eroded, our working conditions are poor, our progression is blocked, and our workloads are heavily grown even more and is unmanageable. There is no other workforce in this country who will readily accept this situation. BMA SAS committee wants to see the changes because our members deserve better. Our future SAS doctors deserve better. Next slide, please. Amit, you are on mute.
Thank you, Ujwala. Had to happen sometime. Apologies. But on the previous slide, you saw that the SAS doctors are actually leaving. Retention has become an issue. And when the GMC data says that we would be the largest group in 2040, they are correct, along with LEDs. But what is also correct is if we join, we leave because of retention problems. And a lot of that has got to do with pay and working conditions. So in May 23, a resolution was passed in our conference, which asked us to ballot England-based SAS doctors for industrial action. As a consequence of that, we wrote to the Department of Health and Social Care, outlining our concerns very clearly. And then we had several meetings with the government representatives, but we wanted a credible offer. However, this offer didn't arrive. And that made us proceed to an indicative ballot in September. The indicative ballot had a massive response rate of almost 60%, with almost 90% of us saying that we were willing to take industrial action. And it is on the back of that indicative ballot that the Secretary of State invited us to begin formal talks on the issues that face us.
Amit, can I ask you why we did not take action before? Because a lot of people are asking this.
So each branch of practice has to get a mandate to take that action. The consultants had a similar situation in March that their conference gave them the mandate. We got our mandate through the conference in May, and subsequently we did ballot in September. We didn't think it was worthwhile balloting in July or August because most people are either on leave or some are covering other colleagues and would be very, very busy. And that's why our timeline has been like this. The indicative ballot and the campaigning that we did led to some progress, but of course, we need to do the final statutory ballot, and we need your help to finish the job we started. Next slide, please. So there is no question about this. We are formally in dispute with the government. We are also in negotiations with the Department of Health and Social Care, and we're seeking a resolution for our dispute. We will only take industrial action if everything else fails. And we do believe a credible deal is possible. We've just seen that the consultants have been offered a deal, but we need to show the government that we are going to deliver a good deal for our members and that we have the support of the profession. Hence, our ballot needs a strong turnout, and not only a strong turnout, a strong yes as well. Next slide, please. So what are our asks? 4 specifically. The first one is to address our pay erosion that has happened, and then to make sure it doesn't happen again. The second one, and this is very important, is to meaningfully do something that would create more specialists so that specialty doctors have some career progression built into their careers. We would like to improve terms and conditions at a national level. And very importantly, you will all be aware that the 2021 contracts weren't given the uplifts in the past 2 years. So we would like the pay disparities to be addressed.
Can I ask you, Amit, can we be more specific by what we mean by improving terms and conditions?
Well, making it equal for everybody. We need better job planning. We need better clarification of our SPAs, and we certainly don't need any controversy as far as what's happened recently. Absolute clarity, equal annual leave, entitlement, etc. Next slide, please. So why does the ballot matter? I mean, everybody's done an indicative ballot. Why does the statutory ballot matter? Because the leverage that we will get with this for our talks is huge. And we could use this to our advantage in negotiations. This happened with both consultants and junior doctors. And that's how the government came to the table. We need the same bargaining strength. So that's the first thing. It'll help us bargain. The second thing is, if we don't get a good deal, it'll help us escalate our campaign. That means that we would take industrial action. But on the other hand, if we don't get a successful ballot, it would hamper our ability to negotiate with our members, on behalf of our members particularly. Yes, and this is interesting. In a statutory ballot, we need to have more than 50% membership turnout and a majority yes vote, which means that every vote counts, and it has to be postal. And I'm sure Jessica will agree with me that this is deliberately a government ploy to ensure that we could delay the ballot as much as possible. Wouldn't you agree, Jessica? This business about posting things.
Yeah, absolutely, Amit. So all of the sort of thresholds on the slide at the moment came in not very long after the 2016 junior doctor dispute. So again, I don't think that was a huge coincidence, and you probably won't be surprised to know that the BMA and all unions have been lobbying for a number of years to move ballots away from being postal to electronic, because that's how and most of us are used to kind of communicating, but all governments have been very reluctant to do that, because for the reasons we can imagine. So yeah, all about the postal votes now, and as Amit has said, the turnout is absolutely critical. We know, for example, the RCN, who were balloting by employer in some of our trusts in the West Midlands, didn't meet thresholds by things like 3 votes. So of the people who voted, sort of 80-90% said yes, but only 49.7% voted, so it didn't count. So that's why we keep emphasising that part and encouraging you to speak to as many colleagues as possible to get that ballot paper back in the post box. Thanks.
Thank you, Jessica. And that does mean that we need every vote. Next slide, please. So we would like you to send your ballot as soon as possible, but Monday, 11th December is the date that we would like you to make sure you achieve at the latest. We would also like you to canvass other SAS doctors to join, and if they join by the 4th of December, we will be able to send them a ballot. We do have a different ballot with different deadlines for specialist doctors on the 2021 contract. If you are a specialist doctor member, you will start receiving a ballot. You will have started. It started on the 27th, and this will carry on, and we'll expect your ballot back by the 8th of January. Everybody who was missed out has received a separate email from the BMA to say why, and we will count your votes as well. And your vote is confidential. That is very, very important. Your employer will not know what you say, and neither will anybody else. What you put in the ballot is absolutely confidential. We would also like to say that all eligible doctors are able to vote, all SAS doctors who are BMA members, and the immigration status was raised on a couple of WhatsApp groups, and we had a webinar which you can watch because we recorded it. We invited a couple of solicitors and we got absolutely good advice. It will have no impact on your visa. If you are still concerned, you can get in touch with the BMA via the support@bma.org.uk email to use our immigration service. Next slide, please. So we will take questions, but what we've told you so far is who can vote, how to vote, has to be postal, I'm afraid. And if you haven't received a ballot, you can send us a message. There's a form on the website, which is on there, bma.org.uk/SSPay. And we are ensuring that as many of you as can do vote. I have personally escalated many, so if you do feel that you haven't received a ballot or you know somebody else who's not received a ballot, please get in touch. Next slide, please. So we need everybody to participate in this ballot, as many SAS doctors as you can. If you're not a member of the BMA, please join. That's the joining link. On the ward rounds, on the walk through the hospital, speak to your colleagues, encourage them to vote. Join your local campaign WhatsApp group. I know there are 13 WhatsApp groups, and we made sure that there is a SAS committee member on every WhatsApp group. So we're feeding you information constantly on the WhatsApp groups, and we can put put a link in the chat bar of the WhatsApp groups. Jessica, I don't know if you have those. Yes, she's nodding her head. So we'll send you the link of how to join your local WhatsApp group. Also, if you want to become a pay campaigner, that's the address on the website, bma.org.uk/SAS Pay. And we would love to see you join as a pay campaigner and be empowering our pay campaigners with various kinds of information, including materials for industrial action if we do have to take that. Next slide, please. So we will open for question and answers, but before we open for question and answers, I'd like you to leave with one big message, which on the next slide, and that is, oops, your vote. We need it. Please use it and please send it back. And the next slide will show you the web page again, where you could get any more information on our campaign. Please use the web page if you do need any queries, or you could email doctorspay@bma.org.uk. We'll take the questions now. Okay, the first one that's come through is, what communication has there been between the SAS negotiating team and the consultant JD negotiating teams? Wouldn't it have been better to negotiate as one? You want to take that, Ujjwala?
Yeah, thank you. So SS doctors have multiple contracts. We have specialists, we have SS, so we have many contracts to negotiate. Whereas junior doctors, consultants, they have their own contracts. We meet them. It would have been nice, but each contract is different, so we have to negotiate it separately. Every week we meet and exchange our ideas to each other, but we are negotiating separately. Amit,
So
do you want to add in?
The BMA has a rule that each branch of practice has its own delegated authority to negotiate on behalf of their own group, and each have its own dispute with the government. So it would be difficult for me, for example, to sit on the consultant or the junior doctor negotiations. Plus, these are very small teams now, very small teams. And essence of time is so important. Getting people together is going to be difficult if they're large groups. So we are in constant contact and hear from each other. But as Ujjwala said, we negotiate for so many different groups, whereas their question is simple. So the next question is, what will happen if the ballot ending December 18th is successful, but the one ending January 8th is not, and vice versa? Are the ballot results added together? So each ballot must meet the 50% turnout threshold to be successful. That is clear. If the ballot ending the 18th of December is successful and the specialist ballot ending the 8th of January is not, then the specialist will not be able to take industrial action. And vice versa will be true as well. Hence, we need to ensure that everybody votes and votes yes. And that is so important.
To add on that, Amit, every vote counts. So every vote matters, isn't it?
So the next question is, the next question, is our negotiation the same as the consultants or different? Well, it's different. We've just said that we're different branches of practice. We are smaller numbers than consultants, yes. Do we have enough power to negotiate like the consultants? Of course we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been invited by the government. We have a lot of power. We underestimate our own power. We are sort of, we've got such good choke points. I mean, A&E, anesthetics, pediatrics, and some surgical branches. We run the service, whether you want to accept it or not. So we have great bargaining power, and hence we need that ballot to be successful. Next question, perhaps Jessica, you want to take this. What practical ways can I increase local engagement with the ballot? Many of my colleagues don't respond to emails or WhatsApps.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, again, I think first of all to say thank you for everything that you are doing to engage colleagues. So obviously, emailing, WhatsApping, that does reach out to a number of people, but that not to everyone. Again, I think one of the things that the junior doctors have found very, very helpful during their dispute was to organise some ward walks. So if you're in a particular part of the hospital, to try and do some walks around the wards during the day. So you could maybe try and split that between a few of you, because obviously you're in different localities. So that might be a way of trying to have some conversations. Obviously, I'm sure you're doing things in like any sort of teaching opportunities that you're having. If you're on your local negotiating committee, again, try and get your reps sort of involved as well. Try and get your, consultant reps, your junior reps to talk to their colleagues as well, because again, we're all trying to work together and all trying to encourage each other to get the ballots back. So the ward walks is perhaps just an additional idea that you might want to use. If anyone's got any other ideas or anything else that they've found work really well, then again, please do post. That would be really interesting to see. Thank you.
This is an interesting question. If the consultant deal is accepted, how will that affect our dispute? The answer is straightforward, it won't. But our leverage will be winning our ballot. The question was, won't we lose leverage if the consultants settle? Our leverage, only one, is going to be winning the ballot. So it's important that SAS doctor members get their votes back in time. If we don't meet the 50% threshold, we lose our leverage. Also, if the consultants are voting in a referendum and SAS doesn't get a deal and goes out and takes industrial action, and you can think how this will play out in the future. So where's the next question? How much will it cost me to strike per day so that I can adjust my cost of living? So the answer to that is it is 1/365th of your earning, which is deducted. But the BMA has a strike fund, and we've helped a lot of junior doctors and some consultants with the strike fund funding. So you could avail of the strike fund.
Another way, Amit, and I don't know how, I know this won't be appropriate or applicable for everyone. I know a number of the juniors, because we knew we were striking on an every month basis, would try and undertake perhaps a locum during the month before. So I know that's not something that everybody would have the opportunity to do, etc. But again, that's something that they've tried to do to kind of to make things then easier, knowing that there would be other strike days coming up. So that could be a possibility. But as Amit said, there is also the strike fund. And if we do take industrial action, then we'll be sending out the information out to all SAS doctors, as we have to juniors, etc., each time, explaining how to look to access that. Thank you.
I think you could take the next one as well, Jessica. If my ballot arrives after the 11th December, what can I do?
Okay, no, that's a really good question. So our 11th of December is perhaps our slightly cautious date, because we know with Christmas and things, so we're obviously trying to encourage everybody to get them back in the post as soon as possible. So as soon as they arrive, to get them in the post. If somebody says, gosh, I've suddenly found it on the 12th of December, absolutely, please encourage them to still get it back in the post. It's still very likely to reach us. So again, I think the strong message would be just keep posting them back even after the 11th, and the majority, I think, will reach us in time. So we've been a little cautious, but get them back as soon as possible. Thanks.
Okay. Another interesting one. Why should someone at the end of their career feel strongly about this and vote for strike action? Pay restoration won't make any difference to them. You're probably right. But I'll say this. We do a lot of things in my workplace, at least. When I'm doing clinics, I have medical students sitting in. My clinic's not reduced. I still teach. And as we get older, as we reach the end of our lives, we want to see, we will be patients, and we want to see that the doctors who look after us are happily paid properly and are happy. So I think I would still vote for supporting the new doctors coming in. Having been SAS doctors over the years, we have seen the tumultuous nature of what we faced, the ups and downs, till the charter came. I think most of them were downs, but we made it, and I think we should lay the path for others coming this way to try and make their careers a bit smoother, a bit better paid. Would you agree with that, Ujjwala?
Definitely, definitely. They are the ones who are going to look after us, Amit, when we are older. So we have to look after them now. And this is the future generation who deserves better.
If we go on strike, I'm not sure we'll have the same effect like the consultants and junior doctors. I'm not sure. I think we will have an effect. And, you know, we keep saying nobody knows what SAS doctors are. They will know what SAS doctors are. We are our own end, doing about helping ourselves. So I would strongly encourage you to give us that. Okay. The next question, we've sorted the one after 11th of December. How will you communicate any deal to the membership? I have seen many consultants confused about the proposed deal. Will SAS be recommending any potential deal, or will they remain neutral? If we do get a deal, we will take it to committee first. Committee has to ratify that the deal will be discussed at a referendum by members. We haven't reached that far as yet, but if we get there, the deal will always come out to you, and we'll always explain the deal. We will do it neutrally. We wouldn't want to sway any thinking any which way, but to get a deal, we need that ballot. And that's where I keep going back to. If we don't get the ballot, we will get into difficult times.
We need yes from you now. And we need definitely the winning ballot.
Okay. What resources are there to advertise the SAS campaign? Jessica?
Yeah, we've got resources on the BMA website that you can order directly materials on. So What I'll try to do is I'll try and just find a link for that and pop it in the chat for you. But yeah, that would be great. As I said, I went to a junior doctor event today, but we also took posters and various other materials that we popped up around the hospital as well. So yeah, that would be lovely if you could order some of those and share with your colleagues. But I'll look to put a link in the chat to help people find it on the website.
So the next question is, I moved to the new contract to find 2 months later that my final salary scale would be 5k lower than before. Will the 2021 contract pay point disparity be addressed as a matter of priority? Absolutely. Absolutely. We are giving this great importance because this was a contract which was negotiated, although when we negotiated it, inflation was less than 2%. We didn't envisage it going up, or nobody did, to be honest, 11% and 12%. And what we didn't realize is that the government wouldn't recommend the same sort of uplifts for the new contracts. I think the government too recognized that. It has never recommended uplifts for any new contract in a multiple year pay deal, but broke its own rule this year when it recommended 3% for the new contracts and 6% for the old contracts. Still a difference, and that's not right. But we will be addressing it as a matter of priority. Absolutely. What will a good deal for SAS look like? I wish I could ask you all the question, really. So obviously we want pay increases to address the pay erosion and find a newer method to stop further pay erosion in the future, such as reforming the Doctors and Dentists Review Body. I have given evidence to the Doctors and Dentists Review Body, and the past 5 years we did have good success there, but there is nothing to prevent them not giving us uplifts in the future. So we want that reformed as well. And of course, we want an expansion to the specialist role. We want more specialists to promote career progression for specialty doctors. And lastly, something to improve the terms and conditions and well-being of SAS doctors. What resources are there to advertise the SAS campaign? I think we ordered that. We answered that. You can put up posters in your department, and Jessica was going to put some. Can you tell us who are the part of the negotiating team for SAS? You mentioned it was a small team. Yes, we've got a negotiating team of 4 SAS QChem members, plus the chief officers. And then when we go into meeting with the Department of Health, it is myself, John, who's the Deputy Chair of Negotiations, Ujwala, and we have the BMA's negotiating team, and their side has a similar number who negotiate for them. So it is a small team. I saw a lot of my juniors attending work on their strike day even after voting yes. I understood. How can we prevent this, or if this happens, what else to do? So the first hurdle to cross is to get people to vote yes and get the ballot. We want to be able to say that we've got enough support to take industrial action. Once we've got that, it is up to individuals whether they take industrial action, and people will not take industrial action for various reasons, such as mentioned previously, that it'll cost them money, etc., etc. How can we prevent it? We'll try every which way. We will campaign so hard. We will give you materials. We'll tell you the benefits of staying away from work, only because we work. We have to work on the principle that no pain, no gain. If we take a hit of a day or two salary, we may be able to get a better salary in the future. But we can't stop anybody going to work. we will have a picket line if we do take industrial action. And I think it's illegal to stop people crossing picket lines. Is that correct, Jessica?
Yeah, we're there to obviously things have got to be conducted in a certain manner. So you've got to remain polite. You can't sort of bar anybody's entry to the workplace. You can have a conversation with colleagues. You can talk to them about, what I made that decision today. So if we do get to that stage, we will be providing lots of information about picketing, about how pickets have to work, so that people can feel very sort of reassured and confident in terms of the arrangement. We've had a fair bit of experience of it, obviously, this last year with the juniors and the consultants. So yeah, rest assured, we'll certainly be there to support you every step of the way. If unfortunately we need to move to picket lines.
Okay, and I missed one. Will our deal affect our provision and use of SPA? There seems to be a lot of talk of SPA changes with the consultant deal. So from what I understand, the first lot of SPA changes, correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, were actually misquoted and misunderstood. And there has been further clarification today that the SPA will stay as the SPA. Is that correct, Jessica?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously with the consultant, what's come out, it is quite complex. There's a lot of detail in it. So there's a really good video. Viz Sharma, the lead negotiator, has done a 25-minute one which goes through all of the detail. There were a lot of questions about SPA, so they've had the NHS employers have now provided some clarification that there won't be changes to SPAs, and I think even since that change of wording today, there's now been an official letter as well that's come out. So again, all of that's being updated on the website, because obviously SPA is a hugely important component of both consultants and SASC job plans. So again, people will need to be very clear, but I think the plan is obviously there's some exploration and there's lots of webinars now for the consultants with a little bit of lead-in time before the referendum, because I think, as in, if hopefully there's an offer for SASC that SASC feel it's credible to put to you, again, there'll be lots of information, lots of opportunity for you to be really clear on what the offer is, so you can make a really informed choice in terms of whether you vote for or against. So I'm sure that'll be a similar sort of process. But yes, we have had that clarification about the SPAs come through. Thank you.
Okay. If there's any more questions, please let us have them. It's 7:15. It's been 45 minutes since we've been in this webinar, so I'm just checking if there's any more questions that anybody wants to ask. Give them a couple of seconds. The important message really is that we need your vote. Why are we balloting specialists separately? So the BMA is running many ballots, and our workforce is undertaking lots of industrial action related work. So this was a genuine error where we missed out the specialists, because we have so many different grades as part of the SAS grade. We have the old 2008 contract specialty doctor, we have the old associate specialist 2008, we have the pre-2008 associate specialist, the staff grade, the specialist. So the specialist grade was missed out in error. This has been rectified. We've been very open about it, and hence we've sent another formal legal ballot out for the specialist grade. Okay, I didn't vote in the indicative ballot. Does that mean I can't vote in this one? Of course, you can vote in this one. If you're a BMA member and haven't voted in the indicative ballot, we would strongly support you and encourage you to vote in this one. Please vote. Your vote is confidential. Nobody will know how you voted, but please send it in. If you haven't received a vote, please get in touch and we will send you. Please fill the form on the website and get in touch and we will ensure that you get a vote. Will I lose my job if I go on strike? Absolutely not. Jessica, do you want to take that? Will I lose my job if I go on strike?
Yeah, thanks, Amit. So pleased to report there obviously are protections in place around taking industrial action. We know, if we get to that stage, people can be quite nervous about it. I think obviously we've worked with employers over the last year, both junior doctors and consultants in the trusts all across the country. And I have to say, in the main, we have been able to work in partnership where trusts have respected the right of individuals to take action. Where we've had situations arise, and we have had a few situations arise where people have felt under pressure and things, we've been able to jump on that very quickly. So that that's addressed. So no, you do have protections in terms of taking action.
Thank you, Jessica. Sorry, I missed the first part. Is there a recording to view? Ujwala? Yes, there will be a recording actually on the BMA website later this week. But if you missed the first part, there are two more webinars, one on the 5th and the other one on the 7th. So please attend that, ask your colleagues to attend it. Do you have to have a NHS employer to work? I work in the private sector. Jessica?
I knew I wouldn't get through without taking the microphone off. Apologies for that. Yeah, we've had a few, I think a few other people had asked this as well. So in order to receive a ballot paper, you do have to have an NHS employer. So we've had a few people contact us to say they haven't had a ballot. But then when we've spoken to them about it, they've got a private employer. So the dispute is, the particular dispute is within the NHS. So that's the rationale behind it. But obviously we're grateful for all SAS colleagues for showing interest in the campaign, and hopefully some positive things that will happen in terms of improvements to the contract will also then be mirrored in for anyone in the private sector in terms of their contract. So hopefully it will end up being improvements for all, but voting is you do need to have an NHS employer.
Thank you. I am one of the few SAS doctors in my trust. I feel quite lonely and not sure how to connect with others. Well, you're the first of many. And let me tell you, there are methods of supporting you. Your trust will have an LNC. The LNC will have a SAS doctor rep on it. Get in touch with that doctor and you will get doors open to other SAS doctors. 2, there's a WhatsApp group in your locality, region, and we've posted the links to the WhatsApp groups. Get onto that WhatsApp group and you'll find other SAS doctors that you can reach out to. And 3, at the moment, you're one of the first few. This number is going to expand. I call it the secret army of support of the NHS. That's what SAS stands for. We don't have any more questions coming out. So I think we're going to call this webinar to a close. I would like to thank you all for attending.